Engineer Fry, you have been on a on an extraterrestrial vehicle, on a spaceship which is supposed to have entered the Earth's atmosphere from outer space. How was it? What did actually happen? And when?
Well, it took place on the evening of the 4th of July, way back in the year 1950. It occurred at the White Sands Proving Grounds near Las Cruces, New Mexico, where I was employed at that time to set up instrumentations for testing of some large rocket motors. The event was simply the setting down to Earth of a sampling device which apparently was being used at that time to take samples of Earth's atmosphere at ground level from various isolated points on the surface of the planet. This apparently was controlled by from at least a much larger craft, which at that time was some 900 miles in the air and in the shadowed side of the planet where it wouldn't be visible. One individual from this group might take up extended residence on this planet, and if this was to be done, that they would have to acclimate themselves to this environment, that this was estimated to require about 4 years of Earth time. It was a little optimistic. It actually required almost exactly 5 years.
It has been stated by them, by these humanoids, and it has also been stated in at least in one of your books, that this the ancestors of these humanoids actually came from planet Earth. Where did they move from here? It has been stated in your book that they came from a planet having 50% of the Earth's gravity. There is no such planet in the solar system.
The statement was approximately 50% of the Earth's gravity, and this wouldn't be very far from the gravity of Mars, for example, which is approaching that, or a little less. But the gravity which was described here was the artificial gravity created in the ship itself. This individual had never set foot on a planet in his life until he set foot on the Earth. It was the first planet on which he had ever set foot. He and his ancestors before him, for some generations, had been born aboard this large ship. It is not a vehicle, it is a home. It is a thing that we are preparing to build in our own space program. We are developing the ecological systems which will permit a vehicle to become essentially independent of a planet.
Does this imply that these humanoids were coming from very far, not from a solar system?
I don't think that they were ever very far.
These humanoids claim that their very far ancestors living on planet Earth had developed a very high civilization, with high technology. Well, there have been actually no tradition found in human, on the earthbound folklore of this pre-ancient civilization, or is there?
Well, I think that there is. We have in our reference library in Merlin, Oregon, some 50 or 60 books which contain this tradition and folklore. And it is, of course, not precise in any particular detail, because most of it has come down from one person to another, from father to son, through periods when there was no written language in the area.
The aim of these humanoids. Yes. Why? Why did they pay that much attention to a tiny planet?
Well, probably most of them don't. As I say, we have records throughout all of our history of the occasional approach of such things. Usually they come and go very quickly. I would call this the tourist group. They're going from one point to another, and they happen to come close enough to see that. Yeah, they come close enough to see that this planet is occupied, and they have a little curiosity, but no real interest.
They come like to the zoo.
Yes, that's right. And there may be some who we would call a missionary group who, arriving here and seeing that we are in a condition of crisis here, in a condition, I might say, which comes sooner or later to every civilization, no matter where it develops.
And your task in this connection, what is it?
Well, I don't know that I really have any task. I have had the opportunity to assist somewhat this individual in what he is doing, and this has been both an opportunity and a responsibility, and I feel only the responsibility to answer questions on the subject. I feel no responsibility whatever to convince anyone that it is true.
This is the umpteenth time you are on television. How many times have you been on TV on this point? This thing?
Well, I don't have a complete record. I had appeared on 1,000 radio and TV programs a little over 2 years ago. That is, I passed the 1,000 mark, and I stopped logging them or recording them at that point. But I have done at least 200 since then. So I would say that something over 1,200 programs. Sometimes 2 a day, sometimes 3 a day. There's several cases 5 in the same day when I was lecturing.
That must be very exhausting.
It is, especially when you lecture in the same day.